My closest friends handed me a key to their house on a Tuesday in October, and I held it like it meant something. Because it did. That key was Britta and Noel telling me, you belong somewhere. 2 days before I was supposed to use it, they went silent. Then they asked for it back through a text message, not a call. A text. Here is where we actually are. I am sitting in my car in a Walgreens parking lot at 7:48 in the morning, reading a message that says simply, hey, whenever you get a chance, can you drop the house key off? After 22 days of silence. No, are you okay? No, we should talk. Just the key, please. And something in me goes completely still. Simone had been having a year that unraveled in stages. First, the lease she couldn't renew because the building sold. Then the job that evaporated in a round of layoffs she found out about through a LinkedIn notification, not from her manager. Then the friendship with her college group that quietly dissolved the way those things do. Slowly, then all at once. By September, she had a storage unit, a sublease that expired November 1st, and a spreadsheet of options, none of which were good. Britta found out about the sublease situation through a mutual friend, and she called Simone the same afternoon. Not a text, a call. That detail mattered. Britta had a voice that made you feel like the room got warmer when she walked in, and over the phone it was the same. She said Simone could stay with them for the transition period as long as she needed, and she said it the way you say something when you actually mean it. She said, we have the room. That's what the room is for. Noel was quieter about it. He sent a follow-up text that evening, a photo of the guest room with fresh sheets and a small plant on the windowsill. No caption. Just the image. Simone screenshot it and put it in a folder on her phone she never looked at but couldn't delete. She had been sleeping on a borrowed air mattress in her coworker's living room for 3 weeks. That photo was the first time in months she felt like she could exhale. The key arrived by mail. Britta mailed it, which was so specifically Britta that Simone laughed when she opened the envelope. A single house key on a plain ring, wrapped in a torn piece of notebook paper that said yours for whenever. Simone put it on her actual keychain, between her car key and the fob for her storage unit. She looked at it every time she unlocked her car. It meant something she didn't have the word for yet. Then October got complicated for Britta and Noel in ways Simone didn't fully see from the outside. What she knew, Noel's mother had a health scare around the second week of the month. What she didn't know, it wasn't just a scare. It was the beginning of something longer and harder, and Noel flew out 3 times in 2 weeks. And Britta was holding the house and her own job and her own fear together with her bare hands. What Simone also didn't know, Britta had reached a point, somewhere around day 12 of managing everything alone, where she looked at the guest room, the room with the plant and the fresh sheets. And she thought, I cannot also hold space for someone else right now. I physically cannot. She didn't say this to Simone. That was the fracture, not malice. Just silence where a conversation should have been. The messages from Simone came in steadily through October, checking in, asking how Noel's mom was doing, offering to bring food, to help around the house, to do whatever was needed. And Britta read every single one of them at the wrong time, when she was already underwater, and kept thinking, I'll respond when I have something real to say. The responses never came. The days stacked up. Read receipts are brutal that way. Simone could see the 2 gray checkmarks going blue, one after another. She started spacing out her messages. Then she stopped sending them. By the time the key text arrived, 22 days had passed without a real word. Simone had rescheduled her storage unit pickup twice, reorganized her sublease timeline around the assumption that Britta and Noel's guest room was still a possibility. She had told exactly 2 people about the arrangement, and had declined a sublet offer in another part of the city because she didn't want to commit to something farther away from where she expected to land. The key text didn't just sting, it reorganized everything. She didn't respond immediately. She sat in the Walgreens parking lot and watched a man load 12 packs of soda into a minivan and thought about what she actually wanted to say. She drafted something long, she deleted it. She drafted something short and cold, she deleted that too. She stared at the key on her keychain, the one between her car key and the storage fob, and tried to decide whether she was angry or just devastated. The answer, she realized, was that she wasn't sure those were different things. What she eventually understood, months later, was this. Britta hadn't gone cold because Simone didn't matter. She'd gone cold because Noel's mother was dying. That was the word, the one nobody was using yet, but that was what was happening. And Britta had no language for her own grief that didn't feel like it would collapse everything around it. She had pulled inward the way some people do under real pressure, not out of cruelty, but out of a kind of desperate self-preservation. The silence wasn't rejection. It was a person drowning who couldn't wave back. But Simone didn't have that information in the Walgreens parking lot. She had 22 days of blue check marks and a text about a key. She drove to their street. She didn't park. She rolled down the window and tossed the key. Underhand, nothing dramatic, the way you toss a crumpled receipt into a trash can. And it landed in the dry leaves at the edge of their driveway with a small, flat sound. She drove away without stopping. No note. No text to say she'd done it. She just left. Britta found the key an hour later. She stood at the end of her driveway holding it and understood, in the specific way you understand something when it's too late, exactly what she had done. She started to type a message to Simone. She got as far as, "I'm so sorry. I should have," before she stopped and looked at what she'd written and knew that it wasn't enough. Not wrong, not insincere, just not enough for the size of what had happened. She put her phone in her pocket. She went inside. The guest room with the plant and the fresh sheets sat empty for a very long time after that. Simone found a room in the sublet she'd turned down. It was farther away and slightly more expensive, and the kitchen had no counter space, but it had a window that faced east and caught the morning light in a way she grew to love. She didn't put anything new on her keychain. That ring stayed empty for a while. Not as a monument to it. She just hadn't needed another key yet. Months later, Britta sent a voice memo instead of a text. 4 minutes long. She explained about Noel's mother, about drowning, about the specific paralysis of not knowing how to say, "I can't hold you right now," to someone you actually love. She said she wasn't asking for anything. She just wanted Simone to know the silence wasn't what it looked like. Simone listened to it twice. Once standing in her kitchen, once lying on her bed staring at the ceiling. She didn't respond the same day. She thought about the notebook paper the key had come wrapped in, yours or whenever, and what it felt like to hold that and believe it. She thought about how Britta had mailed the key instead of handing it over, because that was the kind of person Britta was, someone who made gestures that were specific and considered, someone who meant things. And she thought about how that same person had simply run out of room. She sent back a voice memo of her own. 2 minutes. She said she understood more than she had. She said she wasn't sure what that meant for them going forward. She said she hoped Noel's mother wasn't suffering. That was it. No plan to meet. No promise to try again. Just two people who had cared about each other, communicating across a distance that was now simply the distance between them. The empty key ring on her keychain caught the light sometimes when she was driving. She noticed it. She left it there. They gave me a key and then took back everything else.